It was a quiet Wednesday night, one of those nights where the silence feels earned. I had just gotten home from another long shift at the hospital. As a cardiovascular nurse, I'd been pulling overtime for months. The work was exhausting but fulfilling, and I never minded the extra hours. It helped build the life I thought we were both proud of. My wife Lily worked in legal consultancy. Since the pandemic, she'd been working from home 5 months straight. Naturally, we had grown a little distant during the week, but we made it a point to stay close on weekends, Sunday brunches, movie marathons, and long talks on the couch about philosophy or just how the world felt. 17 years of marriage. No kids of our own, but I'd helped raise her 2 daughters, now grown women in their 20s. Ours was the kind of relationship people envied, or so I thought. That night, something mundane led me to the edge of my reality. I went to change the filter on our Dyson fan, one of those high-end ones you connect to an app. My phone was dead, so I asked Lily if I could use hers to reset the filter alert. That's when I noticed she had put a pattern lock on it. We weren't the secretive type. At least I never thought we were. Still, I brushed it off and asked her for the code. She gave it without hesitation. I found the Dyson app easily, but just as I opened it, a Snapchat notification popped up. "I'll bring the special toy." My heart stopped. My stomach flipped. My hands went cold. I must have gone silent for several minutes, just staring at the fan, staring but not seeing. Lily asked, "What's wrong?" I don't even remember what I said, something about the fan's connection needing to be resynced. I felt like I was watching myself lie from the outside. That night, I barely slept. I took a sudden week off work. My supervisor was kind and understanding when I explained that I was dealing with something serious at home. I couldn't think, couldn't eat. I needed answers. I checked her Facebook, logged in on my Chromebook. I turned on Google Location. History enabled Find My Phone. Every move she made started to feel suspect. Then I found the Verizon message logs, over 15,000 texts. Flirty memes, nude photos, dirty talk, X-rated content. The messages went back 1.5 years. The most recent ones had stopped using Verizon and switched to, I'm guessing, Snapchat. It was clever, discreet. Disappearing messages, no cloud, backups. She was lying in bed next to me, messaging him, sexting him, while rubbing my back as I fell asleep. That thought gutted me more than the texts. The guy, a younger co-worker, married, 3 kids. I'd met him, shook his hand. My custom-built house now felt like a stranger's shell. I kept pacing around it like I was looking for something I'd never find again. I couldn't feel anything but white-hot rage. I logged into her Snapchat account using the same Chromebook she had used days ago. The messages were there, photos, conversations, everything. I called my best friend. He's been through 3 divorces, so, yeah, he's a pro at pain. He hooked me up with a brutal, no-nonsense attorney. I printed everything, all 600 pages of it. It cost me over $500 to print it in color, but I wanted the photos to pop. I wanted to make sure she couldn't lie her way out of it. By the time Lily got home that night, I had already met with the lawyer. A woman sharp as a tack and surprisingly compassionate. She looked me in the eye and said, "My job is to fight for your future. Your job is not to make that harder by lying. To me or yourself." I went to FedEx that afternoon and printed out everything. Every meme, photo, message, $534 in full color. Chris at the counter gave me a look when the nudes started coming out of the printer tray. He didn't ask questions, just shook my hand and said, "Damn, man, sorry." When Lily walked through the door around 7:30 p.m., it was like everything was normal, like nothing had changed. But I had changed. I sat her down and asked a simple question. "Is there anything going on that you need to tell me?" She blinked. "Other than the election?" "Not really. What's bothering you?" I swallowed hard. I didn't cry. I was too far gone for that now. "Why is there a remote control vibrator in your carry-on?" Her face changed instantly. Panic. Color drained. She started breathing faster like she was about to faint. Who has access to that toy? Who controls it? She couldn't answer, so I pulled out 3 thick file folders and laid them on the table. "You have 5 minutes to explain this." She crumbled, crying, begging, reaching for any excuse. I stayed calm and cold. I told her my attorney had advised me to inform her. I had retained legal counsel and had begun the divorce process. She screamed that it was her house too. I nodded. Maybe, but I'm going to let everyone know what you did. The girls, your co-workers, everyone. Unless you leave right now. She froze. No more screaming. Just fear. Then I did it. I pulled up Facebook, opened the AP's wife's profile and showed it to her. Should I tell her, or are you going to do it right now? Tears, moaning. I love you. It wasn't supposed to go this far. You can't do this to me. She sobbed. I hit send. The message was gone, file attached. A full history of her 1.5-year affair. I started reading some of the messages out loud, just to watch her squirm. I just wish we could spend the whole day connected, you inside me. You feel better than any woman I've ever had. She collapsed onto the floor, sobbing. She said our marriage could survive this. I said no. You threw away 17 years like it meant nothing. You betrayed me knowing full well what this would do to me. Later that night, I called her company's compliance hotline, reported both her and the AP for sharing protected health info through an unsecured non-corporate messaging app. They'd used company phones to sext and send explicit images. She was his acting supervisor on multiple cases. That alone was a massive violation. I wasn't just coming for the divorce, I was coming for her career. I was done being the nice guy. Saturday morning, 2 days since the truth detonated. I hadn't slept more than a few hours. My thoughts were dark, ugly, violent. The kind that don't just keep you up, they follow you into your dreams. Lily stumbled into the kitchen, still, groggy. Asked if I'd make her breakfast. I dumped my eggs straight into the trash, said nothing, I wasn't ready to talk. So I didn't. I cranked up my old record player with songs from when I was in college. Metal, punk, breakup ballads. Anything. Loud enough to keep her out of the room. I sat down with the printed messages. Page 1, February of last year. I started reading. Chronologically, it was self-inflicted torture, pain shopping as they call it, but I couldn't stop. By afternoon, I'd moved on to heartbreak anthems. Chris Isaak, Ray LaMontagne. My heart felt like it had been chewed up. And spit out. She finally approached again, standing awkwardly at the doorway. Her eyes were puffy, and this time there was a weird defiance in her voice. What's the point in telling his wife? She asked. What does that accomplish? I stared at her. She was serious. Like she really couldn't see it, I said coldly, because at least now she gets to make an informed decision about her life. Something you stole from me. She broke, crumbled onto the couch. I didn't. I was past broken, past numb. You want to help me, I said. Open your phone, show me everything. She refused, said it didn't matter. Claimed I'd just use it against her. Maybe she was right. So I moved to phase 2, destruction. Found her HR documents, called the corporate compliance hotline again, reported that she and the AP had exchanged protected health data, discussed client info, sent pornographic content through company devices, and violated supervisor-subordinate boundaries. That wasn't anger. That was justice. But deep inside, I didn't recognize myself anymore. I was always calm, rational. The guy you wanted in a crisis. Now, I was a man on fire. That night, I called the girls, her daughters, the ones I helped raise. One's 28 now. The other 23, I told them everything. In person. Drove 3 hours just to make sure they heard it from me and not her. I told them they didn't have to choose sides. That if they cut me off, I'd understand. But I asked them, begged them, not to take it out on my parents. Their grandparents, the only people more heartbroken than me. They nodded. They were stunned, disappointed, but grown. They said they'd stay in touch. On the way home, I stopped at my best friend's house, told him everything, cried for the first time in days. I'd helped raise those girls, helped build their lives, and it was all gone like it never mattered. By the time I got back from seeing the girls, Lily had blown up my phone, calls, texts, voicemails. I ignored every single one. She didn't go to her conference that Monday, said she was sick. She made breakfast that morning like nothing had happened. Invited me to eat with her. I sat down, took a bite. Tastes like static, I said flatly. She blinked. What? I haven't been able to taste anything in days. Can't feel anything, just bitterness. She started talking about how worried she was, how much she loved me, how broken she felt since I confronted her. Then she told me something I wasn't expecting. Her oldest daughter had called her and said she was disgusted. I laughed. Not a funny laugh, a manic, broken kind of sound. "Oh, so now you feel something?" I said. "Now that people are watching?" She had no words, just silence. Then I went to the liquor cabinet, pulled out a bottle of 18-year Glenfiddich. It was a wedding gift from my grandfather. Our tradition was to have one sip on our anniversary, just one. A toast to patience and time. I chugged the rest of it, didn't offer her a drop. "You don't deserve any," I said. Then I went to the bedroom, took every framed photo of us, every memory, and laid them out on the kitchen table like they were exhibits in a trial. That afternoon, my lawyer emailed the divorce papers. I was buzzed out of my mind, but I signed them anyway, digitally, clean. Done. Later that night, I got a message from the AP's wife. She thanked me, said she found even more texts with other women. He wasn't just cheating with Lily, he was a serial cheater. She kicked him out, lawyered up. Good. That night, Lily came home to the pile of photos on the table. She started crying. Again. Always crying. Then she tried something new. She stripped down, lit candles, waited in bed for me, begged me to sleep with her, so I did. But it wasn't love. It was punishment, power, hate. I turned on my phone's camera first, just in case. I made her say she wanted it. I made her beg. I made it uncomfortable. Dominant, aggressive. She complied, and I hated myself for every second of it. We fell asleep in the same bed. It was the first time I'd touched her in days, and I felt nothing, just a shell of who I used to be. Tuesday, 1 week since the truth exploded. I sat in the waiting room of a therapist's office, hollow-eyed and shaking. What do you even say when the person you built your life around tears it down like it was made of paper? Turns out, you don't have to say much. I barely spoke, and he read me like a book. We talked about betrayal, about how I felt like less than a man, about the moments I stood in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. Dead eyes, clenched jaw, shoulders hunched like I was waiting for a punch that had already landed. He asked what I wanted. I said I didn't know. Then he said something that stuck with me. "You keep asking her why she did it. That's not one question, that's 100. Start with this one. What inside of her gave her permission to do this to you? That's where the real answer lives." I nodded, but inside I was screaming. I told him about the sex, about how it wasn't healing, it was control, dominance, punishment. He didn't flinch, just told me to be honest with myself. He said if reconciliation wasn't the goal, physical intimacy would only hurt more. He wasn't wrong. Later that evening, Lily tried to speak to me again. Same speech, different dress, said she missed me, that she'd read books, that she was trying, that I was her world. I said nothing until she asked, "What can I do to make this right?" I didn't look at her. "You can't," I said. "You had 17 years to protect what we had, and you threw it away for a man who didn't even choose you in the end." She cried again. I didn't stop her. I packed more of my stuff, called my boss and gave 6 weeks' notice, told them I couldn't do the job right, not with a head full of rage and a heart full of lead. I had a plan now. Move far away. Restart. Forget this ghost of a marriage. She came into my room later, still crying. I turned on the camera again and laid down the rules. "This doesn't mean anything. This isn't love. This is me bleeding out what's left of my soul." She nodded, teary-eyed, then rolled over. Wednesday morning, I woke up with her curled up next to me. Again, she wasn't asleep. I could feel it. Her breathing was off. She was staring at me, but I didn't move, didn't speak. Eventually, I broke the silence. "What's your meeting?" "About today?" She hesitated. "HR, it's probably going to be bad." I said nothing. Then, quietly, she asked, "Is there anything I can do to make things right between us?" I gave a bitter little laugh, the kind that dies halfway out of your chest. "You already had everything, my time, my trust, my loyalty, my body. You had all of me, and you still needed something more. There's no coming back from that." She went quiet, then tried again. What if I gave you full freedom? An open marriage. You date. I don't. I'll just wait. Stay loyal. I'll do anything. I chuckled, cold. An open marriage now. After all this, that's not love, that's desperation. I turned my back to her. She kept talking, said she had no idea how much she'd hurt me until it was too late, that the affair felt like an adventure, like she was addicted to the risk and the thrill. And by the time she realized it could all burn, it was already on fire. That's when I finally got up. I made breakfast. She joined me at the table. We didn't speak. Later, I met with my therapist again, told him everything. My resignation, the sex, the numbness, the fantasy of just disappearing. Even the flashes of suicidal thoughts that creeped in when I was too exhausted to fight them off. He didn't panic, didn't judge. He just listened, then gave me tools, language, steps. He reminded me, "You're not who she made you become. You're still in there." After the session, I got a call from her job. She'd been fired. I wasn't surprised. I had reported everything: HIPAA violations, sexual conduct, unsecured communications. Later that night, she came home crying, makeup smeared, a bottle of wine half finished in her hand. "I lost my job," she whispered. I just nodded. "That's too bad." She stared at me for a long time before saying, "He got fired too." "The guy." I nodded again. "Good." She sniffled. "I haven't spoken to him in days. I don't want to. You're the only one I want." I stood up. "No. You had me. All of me. And it still wasn't enough." I told her I had job offers, coming in already. I was looking at Seattle, maybe further. I told her I needed distance, real distance, from this house, from this city, from her. "I won't ever compromise for you again," I said. "Not for love, not for memories, not for comfort." And I meant it. Thursday morning, she was in my bed again, spooning me like nothing had changed, like we were still a couple, like I hadn't seen her naked with another man through a phone screen. I stayed quiet, eyes open, staring at nothing. Eventually, she asked, "What happens now?" I rolled over, still not looking at her. "You move on, I move out." Her voice cracked. "What can I do? I'll do anything." I sighed. I'd heard that line too many times now. "You want to fix this? You can't. You're not just someone who made a mistake. You made hundreds of conscious decisions to betray me, one text at a time." She paused, then offered again, What if I gave you complete freedom? An open marriage, just for you?" I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. "No, I don't want scraps of loyalty. I don't want pity sex or permission slips. I want a partner. And you stopped being one 2 years ago." I got up, started packing again. Later that day, my therapist and I talked about letting go, about moving forward even when there's no closure. He reminded me, forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It means choosing your peace over your pain. I didn't know if I was there yet, but I was getting close. That night, she tried one last time, makeup on, dressed tight. She sat next to me on the couch, holding an old photo of us at the beach. "We were happy here," she said. I nodded. "Yeah, but I was the only one working to stay that way." She broke down again, said she hated herself, that she finally realized the depth of what she'd lost. I looked at her, finally seeing it, not just the betrayal, but the emptiness behind it. She didn't miss me. She missed who she was when I loved her. "I don't love you anymore," I said softly but clearly. "And I don't think I ever will again." She reached for my hand. I pulled away. "I'm not angry anymore," I told her. "That's the worst part. I just feel nothing, and you should be terrified of that." I went to bed alone. I didn't lock the door, but I knew she wouldn't come in again. 3 weeks later, the house is almost empty now. Walls bare, closets gutted, photos packed, tossed, or burned. I stood in what used to be our bedroom, the one I built with my own hands, down to the trim and the closet shelves. I ran my hand over the doorknob and took one last breath. It didn't smell like home anymore. It smelled like grief. Lily wasn't there when I left. I asked her not to be. I didn't need another goodbye. We'd already said everything we ever would, in words, in silence, in betrayal. I moved to Seattle, new apartment, new job, new number. I stopped drinking, started cooking again, jogging again, therapy twice a week. It's quiet here. Not the kind of quiet that breaks things, the kind that heals. The hardest part wasn't leaving her. It was leaving the version of myself that needed her. The man who bent, compromised, tolerated. Who believed love could survive anything. Turns out love doesn't survive betrayal. Self-respect does. I still think about the girls sometimes. I message them occasionally. They're doing okay. My parents miss them. So do I. But some losses you don't get to fix. You just carry them better over time. I haven't dated yet, not because I'm afraid, because I'm not ready to share peace with someone who might turn it into war. When people ask me what happened, I just say, she wanted more. I gave everything. Then I gave myself back. It's not a happy ending, but it's a true one, and for the first time in a long, long time, that's enough.